You're looking at home video provided to CCX News from an early morning fire Monday in Maple Grove. As you can see by the size of the flames, the fire caused significant damage, impacting 3 homes and displacing at least 2 families. The fire also resulted in an injury to 1 Maple Grove firefighter. The fire broke out around 4:30 a.m. Monday in the 11,000 block of Red Fox Drive North. The homeowners tell CCX News that they are lucky to be alive. Reporter Sonia Goins has more.
Fire investigators spent most of Monday combing through the rubble to try to determine what caused the 2-alarm fire. Now, this fire really rocked the neighborhood, even blowing out the windows to the next-door neighbor's home. Orange flames lit up the sky. The fire was so intense, you can't even see the house. Homeowners Mitchell and Stephanie Rokowski are still in shock.
It was pretty freaky. You know, you always hear about stuff like this and you never think it can happen to you.
Mostly just disbelief. It's like, didn't think it actually happened.
The young couple has lived in their home for nearly 3 years. They moved into their first home right after college. Now all that is left of the home is a pile of debris.
Well, I just heard a loud boom sound, and then all of a sudden it looked like the window and the wall had collapsed in.
They say they could actually feel the ground move underneath them.
We were all sleeping, and then all of a sudden, like, the laundry room beneath our bedroom, something blew up in it, and it lifted our bed, and it smelled smoke.
The homeowners made it out of the house with just the clothes on their backs.
We got the door open probably less than a foot, and we were able to squeeze through it.
Fire officials can't confirm if there was an actual explosion, but items were found several hundred feet away from the home. Firefighters had to move quickly as flames spread to 2 of the neighbors' homes.
The house to the west has some damage and certainly probably has some smoke damage. The house to the east has significant damage.
A firefighter hurt his shoulder but is expected to be okay. Crews had to rotate because of the heat and high humidity, and an extra life support unit was brought in from St. Louis Park.
They make sure that the firefighters receive hydration. They check them for their pulse and their body temperature.
Meanwhile, neighbors are rallying around the couple, making sure they have water and food.
We look out for each other, so yeah, this really rocked the neighborhood.
Sonia Goins, CCX News.
A roommate was also able to make it out of the burning home. The family pets survived too. A GoFundMe has been set up to help the family. We have that information on our website. The city of Crystal is looking to remove picketing in residential neighborhoods following the lead of other Minnesota cities. The Crystal City Council gave initial approval to an ordinance that would ban marching or picketing outside someone's home. The city pointed to instances that have occurred throughout the Twin Cities following an officer-involved shooting or political votes. The ordinance makes residential picketing a misdemeanor crime. Such an ordinance has been upheld by the U.S. Supreme Court and the Minnesota Court of Appeals. Other cities that have already adopted it includes Vadnais Heights, Lino Lakes, Shoreview, and Spring Lake Park. People wanting to be more environmentally friendly usually try to recycle, compost, or consume less energy. But as Delane Cleveland reports, a familiar face in Robbinsdale wanted to take things a step further.
Warmer weather in Minnesota marks the unofficial start of the home improvement season. And every day, Brad Coet and his crew climb on somebody's roof to, well, make a home improvement.
Normally we can get a house done in a day, depending on the size of the home. Typical Rambler, 8-hour job, and we're out.
But this isn't a typical Rambler or an ordinary roofing job.
Friday, they delivered them, and they were willing to put them on the lawn. I didn't think that was a very good idea, so.
This is the Robbinsdale home of Mayor Bill Blonigan, who decided that he wanted to make his home more environmentally friendly by installing solar panels. 48 of them, to be exact.
We will save money in the future. Electric rates will go up 14% next year. We won't be participating in that because we're going to have our electricity made right here.
This particular array of solar panels has a price tag of $58,000. But Blonigan says the cost is offset by a $15,000 federal tax credit and a solar rewards program through Xcel Energy that will give them another $13,000 in exchange for the energy produced by the solar system. As for the remaining $31,000, that will eventually be paid off in energy savings.
The payback is almost instant, so once I saw this program that Xcel Energy has and the federal tax credit, which will go down a little bit in the future, I thought now is the time to jump on this.
Blonigan isn't the only one jumping at the opportunity. The crew from CR Solar says their schedules are booked, in large part because of the benefits offered by Xcel Energy. Granted, Minnesota isn't exactly the sunniest place during the winter months, but Coette says that shouldn't be a deterrent.
A lot of people think during winter they're not going to get any energy. That's not the case. Even under snow, these panels produce energy, and typically you build up enough energy credits during the summertime that it's going to be beneficial for you well into the winter.
Yet in the end, Blonigan says the real beneficiary will be Mother Nature. Now he hopes his neighbors follow his lead.
You can do it, and it doesn't cost anything to listen to a presentation from one of these companies.
In Robbinsdale, Delane Cleveland, CCX News.
A group of students from the Osseo School District were honored over the weekend for their dedication to academics and service to their community. 8 students representing Park Center, Osseo, and Maple Grove High Schools received the Mo 123 Scholarship. Each received $5,000 to help pay for college tuition and expenses. The scholarship was established in 2019 by the family of Park Center alumnus Mustafa Sarim, who died from the flu at age 41. The scholarship fund has awarded $90,000 to Osseo students since its inception.
They were Hall of Fame coaches, legends of the game, if you will. Warren Olson and Chuck Tabor both passed away in early May, and each man leaves behind a legacy.
Chuck Tabor grew up in Kentucky, as anyone who had him as a teacher or baseball coach will remember.
He had that Kentucky accent, and a lot of people tried to imitate or mimic. It was kind of a natural, but I thought he was a real good baseball coach, real good person. Had him in math class. I can remember him looking out the window, looking down on the baseball field down there, and Coach Burke's working on it, and under very watchful eyes.
Tabor taught math and coached baseball at both Robbinsdale and Cooper High Schools for 30 years, retiring in 1990. He was also a scout for several Major League ball clubs. The Hall of Fame coach passed away May 8th at the age of 92. 9 years ago, a ceremony took place before a Cooper ball game to honor Tabor and his years of service in the Robbinsdale School District. A tribute Charlie Tabor appreciated.
I go back and the teams that I coach, I think it's one hell of a salute. It's very good, and I appreciate that.
Don Roney played 2 years of varsity ball for Tabor at Robbinsdale High School in the late 1970s. He recalls that Coach had his superstitions.
One day, we're walking through the parking lot to go to the field, and someone saw him reach down and pick up a coin. So we started leaving coins for him. And he was superstitious, being a baseball coach, and he said at the banquet, he said, "Now, I'm not sure who was doing it." He said, "But it took me a full pocket of coins to realize someone was laying them out there for me."
Just a few miles away from Robbinsdale, at Brooklyn Center High School, Warren Olson was following a similar path. An original member of the teaching staff at BC in 1961, Olson retired from coaching football after the 1990 season. His too was a Hall of Fame career and included a state championship in 1982.
Touchdown, nobody's going to catch him.
Olson was 85 years old this year, and like Tabor, passed away on May 8th.
And Harris going deep, he's open. Marcus Harris.
University of Wyoming and CCX Sports Hall of Fame member Marcus Harris played 1 season for Olson on a great Centaurs team in the fall of 1990.
He's the reason I coach how I do, and not personality-wise, but the schemes. Like, if I'm your offensive coordinator, we're going to pass the ball. And that's what, he just was ahead of the curve on that stuff. And so it was exciting to know him, but more of a coach, but the man he was.
Harris and Coach Olson remained close throughout the years, and the two had a chance to talk in Warren's final days.
Coach Tomerdahl who recruited me, he's a Minnesota guy. He called me Friday and told me Coach Olson's not in a good spot. And so I got to call Coach. And I didn't know if he'd answer or not, and he answered. And so that meant a lot, just that he took the call. And it was a few seconds, but I said, man, you're still sharp. You're still sharp, Coach. And he said, yep, just enough to scratch myself.
Olson was part of a dedicated coaching staff at Brooklyn Center. We're all students of the game.
It wasn't only the X's and O's, but he looked at what he had coming through his system. He's got some speed over there, running, and so he knew what was coming.
I usually say coaching's about 10%, but most of it doesn't have anything to do with X's and O's. It's getting people to feel right about one another and wanting to be a group.
Warren Olson and Chuck Tabor knew their respective games well and were integral parts of their program's long-term successes.
The alumni that did play for him still talk about him, to this day, 30 years later for some of them. So he had a huge impact on their lives and the school history.
A private family ceremony for Chuck Tabor was held at Fort Snelling National Cemetery. A service for Warren Olson will be held later this summer.